Okay, so the question was, what do these three things have in common? Butter gun, the flashlight, I guess on your camera, and the character Pinhead from the movie Hellraiser. Well, let's take a look. So first, let's talk about your buttered toast situation. So hopefully you watched that video, and the guy had a butter gun, which is not real. Okay, so that's a butter gun, I guess. And so he started off with one piece of toast. I guess let me do that in a toasty color. Not really. There we go. Okay, so like it would be like one piece of toast, which is kind of square, like that. Okay, and that would shoot butter out in a perfect square, and it would put a really thick coat of butter on the toast. And then and that would be at a distance R. Sorry, my dog has a toy and it's making noise. Anyway, so R. And real quick word on R. Today, if you recall, I had you kind of put your hands together and then separate them. And the separation between them, I said the AP test would be measured in meters. And the AP test likes to be really tricky and say that is called R, which think about it. And they say R is equal to separation. Separation can be anything. It can be length, height, width, how far you are away from toast, how far you are away from a planet. It can be anything. So they do that to be tricky. They want you to think that everything related to R is a circle. It's not. The only symbol that's going to relate to circular or spherical things is going to be pi, of course. So just gonna want to try and get you used to that. While you're used to R meaning radius, watch out. It's a trick. All right, so then he said, so he was at an original distance R. So then he moved the butter gun further back, and I'm just going to actually draw the toast further back. And you still need to watch the video because he does a better job explaining, and this is not drawn really well. So basically he said it got to the point where it would cover, these are 4 pieces of toast with butter, and the layer was half as thick of butter. Ooh, that's not very pretty, but hopefully you get the idea there. And so on. So it was like, and that would have been 2R away from the gun. So this would be right here, 2R. So basically he said that the thickness of butter was proportional. Now this just means proportional. It's related to, that's the alpha sign. I sometimes call it the fish sign. It looks like a fish. Okay, so he said it was inversely proportional. So inverse, it's kind of like, sounds like reverse to R. So the radius, or just R, would be distance in this case, I guess, squared. So that would hold true. You got 1R right here, covers 1 piece of toast with a pretty thick layer of butter. 2R covers more toast with a thinner layer of butter. 3R, that would be 9 pieces. Okay, so today in class, let's see, I had you take your phone, and there's the floor in the glass that has all the squares on it. That's not very good squares, but anyway, you get the idea. So what you initially did is held your phone far enough away. This is like you're looking down on the floor, and this is your phone. Okay, so you held it some distance, which I said to call because we're getting the practice, R, from the floor, and the light from your phone basically just illuminated 1 square. And then you moved your phone a little bit further away, let's say 2R. I'm going to kind of draw it up here, not to scale. That's your phone. Sorry, it's not very good. So there, and it was 2R away, and it illuminated 4 squares. Guess what 3R would be? 9 squares, because the area covered by the light, also the intensity of light, let's just say and it's as it got further away, I don't know why I'm coloring that in, as it got further away, the light got dimmer. So what I said is to say the intensity of light is inversely proportional to R squared. So, and I know we got into area, into some other stuff, but anyway, mainly the takeaway is this follows the same pattern. And these are called as you may have seen the video title from last night, the inverse square. Ugh. And it's not really a law, like law of science. It's like just kind of a rule of thumb if something follows this. Now, the tricky part of this, what does this have to do with Pinhead from Hellraiser? Let me enlarge this picture. All right. If you kind of look at these things, they are, let's see, I'm going to erase this. They kind of form the shape. And it's a lot like, depending on which way you're looking at it, it's a lot like a pyramid. So for instance, if you start off, let's say you have something here like your phone, and I'm going to say that it illuminates a square or something. You look, and a lot of you drew this and just kind of saw it instinctively, and then we put the things together with paper clips. So you'd have something like that, right? And that would be 1R away. Okay. And then if you moved 2R, if you moved twice as far away, that would be 4 squares or whatever, 4 pieces of toast or 4 what have you. And basically you get this thing that looks like this. As it goes out, it gets more and more. What I want to do, let me see if I can really zoom in on his head. Okay, I might need to lighten that, sorry, just a little bit. Let's see. That's good. Okay, so look right here. You see how you kind of have this and this and this kind of going up, kind of like he's got this kind of field protruding from his head. Well, look, let's say that you have, that's like 1 square close to his head. And of course, this will have a little bit of curve and not be as flat as buttered toast. Do this in a different color. Then let's say you went twice as far out. It's going to be a little bit tricky to see at this angle. Twice as far out. Guess how many squares that would be? 4. And guess what would happen if these pens were really, really long and just extended really far out? Ooh, that one's going to be tricky to draw right there. Well, if you got 3 times as far from his head, guess how many squares this one would be? 9. And it would keep going out. And that is really, really similar to, well, Earth, actually. So, yeah. What I'm going to ask you about tomorrow, and I've kind of done this before, is this is Earth, I guess. And think about what about the Earth would be like Pinhead's head and would follow this. I'm not worried about that yet. Would follow this 1/r² rule. I know I told some of you, or some of you figured it out, so I want to see if you can see how that would relate. Okay, so have notes on this tomorrow. Be ready to answer this question about the Earth. Like I said, some of you figured it out, but be ready to use the apples and oranges thing to expand on that. All right.